Over the last week or so, I've been breaking down every major faction in Starfield. We've already covered the Crimson Fleet, the Freestar Collective, and the United Colonies, and today we're closing off this little mini-series, if you will, with Constellation, Starfield's main faction. So here it is, absolutely everything that you need to know about Starfield's main faction, Constellation. Constellation is Starfield's main faction. It is the only faction in the game which we will all be joining no matter what, at least by the looks of it. As I'm sure you're all aware, Constellation is quote unquote the last group of space explorers. Now at the opening of the showcase, which I'm showing on screen, where we walk around the Moon Cree and fight the Crimson Fleet, actually takes place after we join Constellation. We know this as we can see we're wearing Constellation's spacesuit uniform throughout this opening to said showcase. And because we already have Vasco with us, despite Todd presenting this as happening before we meet Constellation, as after this opening Todd says,
after some initial encounters, you're invited to join Constellation, who, in the future the game is set in, are the last group of space explorers. To meet them, you'll head to the capital city of New Atlantis.
So Constellation are clearly located in the capital city of New Atlantis on planet Jemison. We can see in this clip here that we actually already have the Constellation Watch, meaning we have most likely found a dead member of Constellation while exploring, and perhaps we've picked up the watch to come here to return it, or this could be misleading us again. This little watch opening the door animation here may be taking place after we've already met Constellation for the first time. But once we get into this door, we meet who I and everyone else is assuming is the leader of Constellation, who says,
"Welcome to Constellation. We have a lot to talk about. We're all here because we're committed to the biggest question of all. What's out there? These artifacts could be everything we've been looking for. As to what they are, what they're building, you'll be part of solving that puzzle now."
So that is Constellation's main goal, discovering quote-unquote what is out there, which leads to us finding these artifacts that we've been looking for. We do meet a few members of Constellation in this clip. We see a couple of pictures in frames hanging on the walls here, in Constellation's building/headquarters, and I'm wondering if these folks in said pictures, or maybe paintings now that I'm looking closer, are actually the founders of Constellation. I also really want to know what this little tablet does. And I also want to point out this little skylight here. I'm wondering if this is a futuristic window that's zoomed into space or something, because clearly it isn't just showing the sky. We can see here that it's actually daytime outside, yet the skylight is showing the night sky. Also, can we take a second to appreciate that the interior of Bethesda buildings now have actual windows that let you look outside? But going back to Constellation, we know that they're looking for these artifacts that give us some kind of visions. The Constellation leader does say,
"The artifact you found appears to be one of many."
So the artifact we found appears to be one of many. So we know that we find one probably very early on in the game, maybe even during the opening of the game, and then we join Constellation in order to find more of these artifacts. Clearly they're some kind of puzzle, and we need to find each piece throughout the entire galaxy in order to put them together and create whatever it is that they create. And according to Constellation Lady, I don't know what else to call her, they will unlock secrets.
If we can find more, we can unlock their secrets.
And she also goes on to say that these artifacts will change humanity forever. So Constellation's main goal is obviously to get these artifacts, which is what the main story of Starfield will probably be about, which actually sounds really awesome, at least to me. Just being able to explore an entire galaxy of 100 solar systems and over 1,000 planets, trying to find these little artifacts which end up changing humanity as we know it. Sign me up. I know everybody is mostly excited for the Crimson Fleet, but I've got to say my most anticipated faction in Starfield is definitely Constellation. But unfortunately, just like every other faction in this damn game, we don't really know much. Bethesda is definitely keeping everything very tight-lipped, likely in order to avoid spoiling the stories for us, but there you go, that is pretty much everything that you need to know about Constellation in Starfield. If you enjoyed today's video, please do drop it a like, it really helps out smaller channels like myself more than you can imagine. And hey, if you want to stay up to date on Starfield news, leaks, discussions, and plenty of other content, consider subscribing because we cover it all over here. With that said, thank you all for watching, and I really hope to see you in the next one.